Your nervous system is constantly asking one question, and that's, am I safe? The answer that it comes up with has a massive impact on your experience, how your body feels, and how your body acts and responds in everyday life. My name is Dr. Katie, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'd like to talk about the body's natural alarm system, the nervous system. Before we get started, if you're not already a subscriber, make sure that you subscribe to my channel so that you can get more awesome tidbits just like this one. One of your nervous system's top priorities is to make sure that you are safe in any given moment. And since the nervous system is one of the systems that goes through every inch, every square centimeter of your body, if it decides that you're not, it can impact your whole system to mobilize it and make sure that you get safe and stay safe. Now the question is, how does the nervous system actually decide whether or not we're safe? And this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because the survival part of our nervous system is almost entirely subconscious, which means we don't have any conscious control over what our body decides and how it responds. The easiest way to explain this is to think about the nervous system as an alarm system. Like an alarm that you would have installed in your home, it has certain parameters that it uses to decide if something bad might be happening. But just like an alarm system in a home, it can't actually say that something is definitely going wrong. It just knows if those parameters have been crossed. For example, an alarm system in a house goes off whether it's you or a robber entering your home. All it knows is that the door opened when it's not supposed to. So the next question that usually comes to mind is, okay, then how does the body get its parameters? Who sets the dang thing? Who programs it, right? And the nervous system uses a database of past experiences to determine if what's happening in the present is safe or not. And that can get tricky, right? Because life changes, circumstances change. Just because something bad happened in the past doesn't mean it's happening in the present moment. But that subconscious survival part of the nervous system doesn't have access to the logical mind. So if there are enough circumstances that are similar enough to trigger that something bad might be happening, your nervous system is going to err on the side of caution, and it's going to sound the alarm just in case, because it would rather overreact than underreact. Overreacting may be frustrating, but it keeps you safe. Underreacting could lead to bad outcomes. And the nervous system has a zero tolerance policy on bad outcomes. As we go through our life, our body, our nervous system takes snapshots of moments and files it away in that database to compare future experiences to. And it especially takes snapshots of the moments when bad things happened, because those are the things that it really wants to look out for and make sure that it doesn't happen again. Makes sense, right? We want an alarm system. We want a system that's going to tell us when shit is going wrong. When our nervous system decides that there is something unsafe around us or we're in an unsafe circumstance, it mobilizes a response to get us safe. This is often heard as fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Those are the 4 different mobilization strategies that our nervous system uses to regain safety. I made a video about this earlier. I'll tag it down below. Make sure you go check that one out to learn what those look like, how they feel, and what to do about them. That mobilization response will continue until your nervous system believes that you are safe. Now again, that's not a bad thing. That is your nervous system working exactly how it is supposed to. The problem comes in when our nervous systems become hypervigilant, when they are in a prolonged state of stress or unsafety. In those cases, it can get stuck in those survival patterns. And our system isn't made to stay at that survival pattern for prolonged periods of time. That's when things like burnout happen, chronic pain, other chronic conditions, and the systems in the body just start to break down. This is where it's so important to recognize the difference between human beings and machines. Machines are made to work continuously. Human beings are not. Some of the signs that your body might be going into that pattern of hypervigilance are overreacting to small stressors. So in my example, it's like my shirt gets caught on the doorknob and I lose my shit, right? Something small inconvenience, crying over spilt milk kind of energy. Also often snapping at people in circumstances that aren't called for, or even jumping at small noises. Sometimes those are the moments where we jump and then we kind of laugh at ourselves because we realize that there was really no indication to jump. But that's a sign that our nervous system is looking for threats everywhere. That means your system does not feel safe. The most important step of breaking out of this cycle is recognizing when your system is in that state. Because until we recognize it, we can't convince our body that we're actually safe. Actually being unaware of that hypervigilance is going to make that subconscious part of your nervous system feel even less safe, because it's sitting there in the background going, crap, she has no freaking clue that this tiger's about to eat her. And that makes sense, right? If you saw somebody who was, you believed, in danger and they were completely oblivious to it, you would yell louder, you would try to get their attention even more. And so often the symptoms that we experience when we're in burnout, when we're in stress, when we're in trauma responses, even sometimes the chronic conditions, chronic pain, dizziness, lightheadedness, those things that medicine has not been able to explain, sometimes those are just a cry for help from your nervous system, desperately trying to get your attention to let you know what needs to be changed. Once you recognize that you are in that state of hypervigilance, that stuck state of survival, there's good news. The nervous system is incredibly adaptable. The nervous system is built to learn and evolve and change throughout our lifetimes. This is something called neuroplasticity. It's the ability of the brain and the nervous system to change in response to new experiences. And that never stops. Throughout our life, no matter how old you are, the brain and the nervous system are capable of change. And I know that this is true, that the nervous system can learn and change, because I have gone through that process myself. I speak from experience. A few years ago, I was really in the throes of depression, anxiety, panic attacks, and trauma responses. It felt like the slightest thing would activate my nervous system. My heart would start racing, this muscle tension would increase, I would start to breathe faster, and it felt like I couldn't make decisions for myself from a rational state of mind. I also struggled with chronic pain, headaches, migraines. My whole system was crying for attention. And at that time, I had started going to an EMDR therapist. EMDR is a type of therapy that helps you to reprocess trauma. And in our first attempt at doing EMDR to reprocess a traumatic memory, my system went into a full-blown survival response. It did not feel safe, even sitting there in my therapist's room where I logically knew that I was safe. She and I began to talk, and she started to ask me questions that I had never been asked. Things like, how would you describe the feeling of being protected? How would you describe the feeling of safety? And I had nothing. I had no felt experience of safety and being protected. Even if I had in the past, the trauma and the experiences I had gone through had overwritten it. In that moment, my nervous system didn't even know what safety felt like. And if that experience of safety wasn't even in my nervous system, then how could I access it in any given moment? It made so much sense that the slightest thing would tip me over into that survival response. So then my job became teaching my body how to feel safe. And that's not something that happened overnight. It takes time. When the nervous system has logged experiences of danger and it has come up with a response that works, even if it doesn't work in a way that you would like it to. For example, when I used to get migraines, when I was just going, I would get a migraine which would cause me to rest. So that was how my body regained some sense of safety, by giving me a migraine so that I would lay down and rest when I needed it. When I started to rest more frequently, I stopped getting migraines. When you think of things in that perspective, the question stops becoming, why is my body doing this to me? It becomes, what does my body need in this moment? And if we can start to give it tiny little moments of experiencing safety, of experiencing met needs, then gradually over time, those new experiences start to fill the database that your nervous system keeps. And that is the experience that your nervous system will start to apply to new experiences. It's a rewiring process. The nervous system doesn't care about logic. It doesn't care that you logically know that you're safe. It cares what you have lived and what you have experienced. And so giving it tiny little moments, even if it's just a few seconds of feeling your feet on the ground, moments of noticing your breath, moments of just reminding yourself why you're safe in this present moment and why now is different than back then, can be crucial to showing your nervous system, to giving your nervous system the experience of what safety feels like. Once my system started to learn what safety actually felt like and started to trust me to provide that to it, slowly those trauma responses became less severe and less frequent. Now, I'm not saying that they never happen anymore, because they do. That's a normal part of our nervous system. If my nervous system completely stopped giving me those responses, I'd be really worried. The key to rewiring your nervous system out of a fight, flight, freeze, or fawn state is to start to give yourself little moments of peace, little moments of safety, and little moments where you honor your body's needs. Some of the ways that I first started to do this was meditating, sitting for a few minutes and focusing on my breath. Even in the middle of a stressful moment, noticing my feet on the ground. Another great exercise you can practice is when you're home after work at night, take a moment to ask, what do I want right now? Do I want to sit? Do I want to lay down? Do I want to read? Do I want to watch TV? And feel what it is that your body wants in that moment, and then act on it. That will slowly start to build your trust in your body's signals and your body's trust in your responses. That two-way trust within our own systems is a huge part of starting to build safety within our system. And of course, if you have experienced trauma or you're really struggling with trauma responses and panic attacks, seeking the support of a mental health therapist is an absolutely crucial support to help you start to rewire your nervous system. If you're struggling with chronic pain or symptoms that medicine has not been able to explain, and you'd like to explore this more, this concept of understanding your nervous system, I have a self-paced course called Pain Explained, where I take a deeper dive into it. I'll link it down below. Check it out and let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about this down in the comments. Would love to hear your experiences of safety within your nervous system or lack of safety within your nervous system. Let's have this conversation together and learn about each other. Have a great rest of the day, guys. I'll see you in the next video.